Hello and welcome to the Rhythm Changes podcast. I'm your host, Chris Fraser. Thanks for being here. Today's episode is another repeat guest, but I couldn't resist as he was already in town for a few days. It is Edmonton's own Biboye Onanuga. If you don't know him already, Biboye is an amazing drummer who is a frequent band leader and composer. He came through Vancouver just this last weekend over April 12th and 13th to play a couple of shows, and he was staying in my neighborhood. So it was a natural fit to catch him for a quick conversation. We cover a lot of ground in this one, including food and how it relates to music, the importance of community for young musicians, and how Biboye is currently paying it forward in his role as the musician in residence at the Edmonton Public Library. Please enjoy our conversation. Yeah, so you're in the thick of the visit now.
I am in the middle of it.
Yeah. So, like, when I saw you yesterday, you seemed a lot more chilled out, and now you're like a couple hours before a big show. But it's gonna go great.
I think it's gonna go great.
I just know this mindset you're in right now. I've been there.
Yeah, especially because it's like not my city.
Yeah.
And it's like, friends will be there in the audience,
Of course.
and I'm playing with friends, but
Yeah.
there are also so many more strangers
Mm-hmm.
and new folks, both in the bands and in the audience.
That seems to be that's kind of the vibe whenever you're in town.
Correct.
Yeah. But I guess every time you come to town, you gather more friends.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah, so you have
It's
a higher
like fun.
contingent of friends every time you play here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, last night's show, I think the audience was more than 50% people from Edmonton.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, more than 50%.
Just expats, Edmonton expats to
Mostly
Vancouver?
expats, yeah. It was great.
Nice.
Mhm.
Edpats.
At Frankie's.
Yeah, okay. How was the show last night? Sorry I couldn't come.
That's okay. It was really fun. It was so nice to play. I don't think I've played a set of like more chill, low volume music
Cool.
ever. And
Wow.
I'm trying to chill. I'm trying to theme sets more.
Yeah.
And that was like really fun to do.
Nice. So
Mhm.
what was the theme, would you say? Because I know it was called Low and Slow,
Mm-hmm.
and you told me a moment ago that it was a spiritual gig. Can you?
Yeah, I mean, I say it was like, I called it low and slow because it was like truly low volume and slower tempo tunes,
Yeah.
and inspired by kind of vaguely 60s era spiritual jazz.
Mm-hmm.
But it was all quote unquote modern tunes.
Yeah.
50% originals, 50% tunes by players written in the past like 10, 15 years
Mhm.
that I think embody that stream of jazz that I don't
Cool.
think Vancouver I feel like might actually get into more than Edmonton does, but we don't do that much in Edmonton.
No. So you feel like there's a bit more of an audience for that kind of thing here.
Well, I just think I'm locked
But you said a
into
lot of
Tim.
Edmontonians were there though.
There are a lot of Edmontonians in the audience,
Yeah.
but the players in our scene aren't
Mm.
maybe doing that kind of thing.
Okay.
I mean, I'm locked into the things that Tim and Corey are like doing here.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's just there's more happening,
Okay.
and Tim is doing things that I think are under that umbrella.
Yeah.
Faven and Nebu are
Yeah.
doing something that's, I would consider in that world of
Mhm.
music. So, yeah, it's happening here. It's cool.
Sweet. When I hear Low and Slow, I just think of onions.
How to cook them?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. If you're making like a soup or
I
something,
like that too.
or a stew.
I love it. Slow cooked.
Yeah.
Slow cooked music.
Yeah. Soulful cooking.
So absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have any songs named after food?
No.
I feel like you get to that point at a certain like when you're a jazz musician, at some point you have to name
I
music
don't know if
after
I'll ever
food.
do that. I'm like not a foodie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I've become more of one since meeting my
You don't
wife.
have to be a foodie to appreciate food.
I have a lower than average appreciation for food. I know
Mm.
that for sure.
Okay. That's an interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting position.
Yeah, or like maybe it's just that my taste buds
Yeah.
do not match. I think like the general population.
Okay.
Where it's like
What's something you feel like? So do you feel like there's food that should be more appreciated that is not appreciated?
no, I'm not like an
Okay.
advocate for my tastes. It's
Okay.
just like people will be like, "This is it. This is the thing."
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's not for me."
You just came back from brunch.
I did.
What did you have? Where'd you go?
We did have this conversation. We went to this fancy dinner place or lunch brunch. Ask for Luigi.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it was.
That's a nice place here in Vancouver.
Yeah, it was fine. Like, literally, the folks we went to brunch with, they were like, "So," and I was like, "Yeah," and they knew what was coming because they kind of know me.
Yeah.
So, and they were like, we had to talk about carbonara. They're like, "We love the carbonara," and
Yeah.
my wife was like, "He's not a carbonara person," because it's like it's just, I like to get hit. I like when I like flavor.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I like
carbonara is like richness.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily strong flavor. It's just like, fat and salt.
Yeah. See, like, and I'm like, what is richness? I'm like, as a flavor profile, what is that?
Nice.
Ugh.
No, let's dive into this a little bit more. So, I wonder if this translates to music.
Oh my gosh. Interesting.
Yeah. So, for you, you're thinking, so like then what, so there is taste. What's the value to you? You want flavor more, right? So you're thinking flavor. Spices.
Yes.
You're thinking herbs.
Yeah.
You're thinking, what else? Talk to me.
Pepper.
Yeah.
Like something that like.
The carbonara should have been peppered.
Well, I didn't have it, but like something that, like I like when things are, people use the term spicy in the West, but like we use peppery in Nigeria.
Right.
And it's like kind of hurts. And it's like there's some complexity there where you're like, I taste these things, but they hurt me as I do them. It's like a little abrasive. That's part of it.
Yeah. And that's like hurting in terms of like spice level. Like there's a heat to it.
Yeah, like your tongue is different after the meal.
Okay.
You
want to be transformed.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, we're getting into it.
I feel like we're getting somewhere.
I want to be different after the meal.
Wow.
And not just full.
Yeah. But sometimes full is just all you get.
Exactly.
In which case, no harm.
No harm, no foul, but like.
But yeah, like if if you're choosing the meal, you want to have a transformative experience.
Exactly.
You want there to be the point in your life before the meal and the point in your life after the meal.
Exactly. Yes.
I feel that. I know what you're saying, and I think I have to agree in that way where it's like there is sort of like so I think when you study this music, you develop an appreciation for what we could call in this conversation rich food, right?
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
But
yes, absolutely.
Right? You're just like, well, you got to eat, you got to have your meat and potatoes,
absolutely.
Of course, right?
Yes.
That's what we call it even.
Yes, we do.
But also like
goose eggs.
Yeah.
Some players have to play the goose eggs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And they have to be damn good at it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You want this quarter note?
Yeah.
You're going to get it.
Yeah. But also, so like that's sustenance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, obviously you need sustenance.
Yeah.
But once in a while, you want to eat a meal that you'd be happy if it was the last one you ever ate.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know if I'm going to play music the same after this conversation.
Wow. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, like once in a while you're just like, man, okay, I'm really glad I did that. I wasn't expecting that. Mm-hmm. I wasn't expecting. I didn't know what to expect from that experience, right? And also, man, it sounds like you are a foodie.
Well, okay, I just said this at brunch too. I didn't. It's like I realized fairly recently, like in the past year, that my mom was actually a brilliant cook.
Oh yeah.
And it's like one of those things where you don't realize it at the time because
Are both your parents Nigerian?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because it's just what you eat every day.
Yeah.
Your whole childhood.
Yeah.
But then like looking back, you're like, oh yeah, the other moms were like, Sis P, like, could you make this for my kid's birthday party? Or could you bake the cake? Or
whoa.
could you make the dodo? Like, and it's like, oh, not every my mom never asked anyone else to make something.
No.
We wouldn't, their kids weren't like, hey, our kid, like our family weren't like, hey, could you ask that other mom to make her sauce?
Right, of course.
It was like, no, it's like, it was my mom. So it's like, I realized I just was set up for failure because it just started out so good.
So you're spoiled.
I was spoiled.
Yeah.
Food-wise.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, that could be it. But I think also, like, I think there's been, like, in the last, like, 10 or 15 years of maybe, like, upper level cuisine. Like, Asperluigi is a really great example of that kind of thing where it's just, like, an Italian restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just doing Italian food really good. And not to bash Italian food or anything, because I love pasta, even though I'm celiac. Like, I love pasta.
And they have gluten-free.
That's great. Can't believe it. What a world!
My wife was so stoked.
That's great. Like in the last like 15 years of food, there's been like a lot of like places opening up as like a high end diner.
Interesting.
Where it'll be like this is the best bacon and eggs. I studied at the Cordon Bleu in Paris, and then I came back to my hometown to open a diner to make the best bacon and eggs you've ever had in your life, and it's like $25 for 2 pieces of bacon, 2 eggs, and then everyone goes and it's just like, oh, this is incredible. There's a lineup around the block, and it's like at a certain point, I think bacon and eggs can only get so good, and I'm sure there are people in the world who are really innovating in the space of bacon and eggs.
Absolutely.
And those people are probably informed in a different way than they would be if they were somebody who studied at the Cordon Bleu school.
Perhaps.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so it's, like when you have that level of depth to your taste, you could probably just like eat something like that and it's just like, okay, there isn't anything particularly impressive about this other than the fact that it was done with a high level of accuracy.
Absolutely. Attention to detail was there.
Yeah. No, I think I think I'm coming around. I think I'm seeing things your way.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So what have you found any good Nigerian food here?
Oh, I don't eat Nigerian food outside of my home.
Right.
And that's the thing is like it's like my mom's. Yeah, it's my mom's food.
Because I have been curious about Nigerian food. I don't know where to find it.
I wouldn't know either, especially here.
Yeah. Maybe everyone's like that. Maybe all the Nigerian families, they just go to their mom's house.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't open a restaurant.
Yeah, they're like, why would we do that?
Yeah.
We got it. We got our own.
And I think that's good too. Because I have like an extremist view on restaurants, which is that there are too many restaurants.
There's a lot.
Far too many restaurants.
There are a lot.
Like you're staying here on Main Street where I live.
There's
many. There's way too many restaurants, man.
Totally.
Like this is like, it's getting ridiculous. Like a restaurant will open and then they open a little sister restaurant next door.
Yep.
And it's just like, you liked our restaurant? You're going to love the restaurant right next to us. That's also us.
Yeah. That's
like,
funny.
What? We don't need that many restaurants. Like, can't we have like a...
But I'm sure there's math on like how many restaurants are needed in a city. Well, I guess none. Fundamentally,
no way.
Right? Because it's fundamentally
there's no way we need this many restaurants.
Right. Okay. I don't.
There's no way we need this many restaurants. Like it. Like you walk into half of them on a Friday night, and they're not even a quarter full.
Oof.
Because no one can afford it.
I guess.
Right.
I wouldn't know.
That's what it's like here. Vancouver.
I'm starting to do the math in my head. I'm like, okay, well, what percentage of people have birthdays every day, and then like, anniversaries, and it's like because they're,
yeah,
sure, then it's a special occasion, but then it's like I don't know.
I just think we don't need that many restaurants. I mean, like, there's like bookstores closing down on Main Street. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the restaurants end up being like a playground for someone with a trust fund.
Ouch.
Because they're like, oh, I heard about this great chef who's really good at bacon and eggs. I want to give him, you know?
Let's make the best bacon and eggs in Vancouver.
Yeah. I feel like that kind of thing could start happening in music too. I mean, if it hasn't already, where there's this, you know, there could also almost be like a commodification of there being a jazz scene.
Whoa.
And I'm not naming anybody.
Uh-oh.
I'm not naming anybody.
Oh, no.
I'm not naming anybody.
Okay.
But isn't there a danger there?
Of course. Absolutely. Especially like when you genre it out like that. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. And
I mean, I guess that's kind of the whole history of the jazz movement, really.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
The reason why we even call it jazz.
Exactly. Yeah, it's complicated. I feel like I talked about this last time I was on the pod.
Oh, yeah.
Which was like, yeah, like people saying like jazz is in. Like,
yeah.
In the broader culture.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, is that jazz? And like, yeah, trying to be.
Like, what is in?
Yeah, right? It's like.
What does it mean for something to be in?
Yeah, and it's like, is the music in, or is like a jazz-based font on a T-shirt?
Yeah.
And like the Blue Note design.
Right, the aesthetic of jazz.
Yeah, exactly.
The idea of acknowledging jazz as something that isn't just something to be made fun of.
Yeah, and it's a signifier. Like, I like.
It's kind of like the mid 2010s like nerd culture thing of like like pretty girls wearing shirts that say I love nerds or something. And it's just like
it's not real.
Yeah, it's like it's almost a joke, right? It's like it's condescending in a way. Not to say that there weren't girls who loved nerds back then, but the idea of it being like this broader sort of meme, like a cultural
it's a
meme.
signifier. It's like,
and so like jazz becoming a meme is something that is a little bit a little bit weird to me, because there's so many jazz memes, you know.
Yep.
And it's like I get it, right? Like it's a genre of music that takes itself very seriously sometimes, right? So it's rife for being made fun of.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, it's like I guess you gotta be careful, like who's making fun of the music.
Absolutely.
You know?
Totally. Yeah. Complicated.
Yeah. It's like, you know, the idea that like you can make a joke, but is it a good joke?
Yeah.
And is it an
and do you understand
joke?
exactly?
Yeah. Like, you know, it's so funny. Like, I talk to some people. Again, I'm not going to name anybody, but whenever invariably, I'll talk to somebody about coming on the podcast, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to say something that gets me canceled." Like, you're not.
Yeah.
Like you're not.
Or try.
Yeah.
Just
seriously.
try.
You'll have to try really hard. And I think like if you're going to be talking about something that you're an expert on, which so far, like I'm going to be talking to people on this podcast who are more or less an expert on the thing that they do. I don't think you can as long as you're talking about that, I don't think anyone's going to like get upset at your opinion.
Yeah. And it's your opinion. Have it. Hold it.
Totally. Hot takes are good when they're like, when you can actually like think about them and be like, oh, I didn't really think about it that way, but because this person has this amount of experience, right? Like, why shouldn't they think that? Right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Have a take.
Yeah.
My wife loves Subway takes. Do you know that?
Oh, is that the guy who uses the Metro card as a microphone?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, those are good.
She sends me one like every day, the newest one. So,
what's a good Subway take that you like, that you agree with?
Oh man, I don't remember any, but I feel like there was one.
If you had to give me a Subway take right now,
my own?
what would it be? I mean, you've already...
Yeah, I kind of gave mine, which is like...
You're not a foodie.
Well, I'm not a foodie, but also just if food doesn't have flavor, what's the point? I guess
Mhm.
that was kind of. If you're not changed after a meal,
What did you have at Ask Luigi? Were you looking for the most
I don't remember.
flavorful thing on the menu?
I gave up on that.
Oh, okay.
But I don't remember what I had.
Right.
They were thick noodles with. It was something
Damn.
bolognese.
Scathing review.
It was good. It was.
I don't
good.
remember what I had an hour and a half ago. At Ask
It was
Luigi.
good. It was. I appreciated the meal. And then I got a little lemon tart thing as like a. Here you go. Here's your little palate cleanser. That was awesome. That was maybe
Nice.
the best part. The
Hey.
little lemon thing at the end.
But maybe that was more like delightful.
Yeah, it was. It was nice.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
made-
you shouldn't
made
have.
me smile. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
For free? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any. I don't feel like I probably have a lot of hot takes, but you gotta get me there to
All right. Yeah, I'll pull them out
bring
of
it
you.
out of me.
Yeah. So the show last night was good.
Mm-hmm.
Who were you playing with again? It was Faven.
Yeah, Faven on not trumpet but flugelhorn.
Nice.
We made that call.
That was an executive decision.
Swin Park
Suin, yeah.
on piano, which was
Nice.
brilliant.
Yeah.
I saw a clip of her playing at Frankie's maybe a month or two ago.
Yep.
I think with Kevin
Mm-hmm.
and
Romaine.
someone else. Yeah, Kevin
Mhm.
Romaine. And she was just setting such a mood.
Mm.
Like, and I was like, that's what I need in
Sweet.
a month. Like, it was such a mood.
Yeah.
And then bass player was my friend Sasha
Sasha.
Liebrand. Do you know Sasha?
I met Sasha a couple of times because I've booked the I've hosted the jam session at Heroes Welcome
Sweet.
a couple of times in the last few months, and he's shown up to I think 2 of them while I've
Sweet.
hosted.
Sounds like both of the ones he went to. Yeah.
And he brought his bass without a case. And I was like, which is, if you don't know, if you like come to a jazz jam session with your own bass, like you really want to play your own bass. Cause like usually there's a bass player
Yeah.
there with the bass and you would use their bass. But he brought his own bass. And I'm like, oh dang, yeah, dude, we have a bass player already. Like you could play that bass. And he's like, no, it's okay. I want to play mine. And then like, I remember it was like raining and then he like walked back home with his bass.
Wow. Epic.
But it turns out he like lives like a walk away
Literally,
from there.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
Sasha played on my graduation recital.
oh, okay, you
At
guys go like way
McEwen.
back, yeah.
Yeah. And he was a year or two above me, but they let him play my recital. He sounds awesome.
Yeah.
He's great. Great producer.
Oh, cool.
Producing for some great R&B pop artists in Toronto. Jordan Astra is one of them. He's great. Sasha's awesome.
Sweet.
Works for the city of Vancouver.
Oh, what does he do?
I think he cuts down trees.
That's
and
so cool.
Plants trees. He's outside
Oh,
all day. Yeah.
I wish that was my job.
Right?
Dude,
Happy guy.
I love city street trees.
Right?
Yeah.
That's his job.
Urban dendrology.
Whoa. Sounds like you know it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I am. I'm an urban dendrologist. I just like I like to study the trees.
Ah.
You know, you can just like, but if you live in Vancouver, you can buy a tree guide from the city.
Wow.
They'll send it to you in the mail. It's like $10.
It's like urban trees.
Yeah, it's just like a little thing. It's just like it's more like these are BC trees.
Mm.
There's actually an app for the urban tree for the
I've
city
heard about
trees.
this. I've heard about this.
Yeah. There's an app, and it'll tell you exactly what genus of tree you're looking at.
Mhm.
I love that kind of shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that I get very excited about. It's also a great way to go for a walk.
Totally.
Yeah,
Appreciating things as you go.
yeah. Just being like, oh yeah, this is a Norwegian maple. This is a whole grove of Norwegian maples here. Or obviously we're in a neighborhood where there's a good amount of cherry trees and they're blossoming
Oh,
right now.
cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That won't happen in Edmonton for like another 2 months.
Oh, interesting. So it happens real late there.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like 1 week of spring and then it becomes summer?
For real.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, just like the entire like the earth warms up and then
Exactly.
and
That's
then you're
literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's hot.
Oof.
And then there's fires.
Yeah, that's what we get now. We just have fire season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love that. Anyway,
This has been fun.
yeah. So you're playing tonight. You're doing the Monk tribute tonight
Mm-hmm.
with John Nicholson,
Mm-hmm.
Jody Prozik, Quincy,
Yeah,
and
that's it.
it's just a quartet.
It's a quartet.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Which Monk tunes are you playing? How long is your set?
It's an hour set.
Okay, cool.
Playing 7 tunes.
Yeah.
I think that should be about right.
What was your first exposure to the Thelonious Monk?
Ooh, good question. I don't know. I can't think of that.
Is it early, would you say?
Probably. My parents, I grew up on jazz.
Mhm.
So I was blessed and cursed with like
Mm-hmm.
jazz being the early music that I listened to.
Nice.
So I suspect.
How is it a
strongly-
curse?
Well, I just think like I don't know like Beatles tunes and like AC/DC and like all this other music that people think is like those are just the songs everybody knows, and it's like, oh, I know Michael Franks' entire discography, smooth jazz, like, but
Mhm.
So that's the only cursed part, but so it's probably pretty early, like.
Right. So you can't like develop that. You never developed that sort of almost maternal relationship with Beatles music
Yeah, exactly.
that a lot of people have,
Exactly.
where it's just
I've
like
no-
you listen to
none.
the Beatles and you feel like a child.
Yeah, I don't have
Yeah.
that at all.
Yeah.
And my parents don't have that, and
Yeah.
so yeah, we didn't mess with that kind of popular music in many ways. They weren't in that crowd.
Yeah.
So yeah, Monk would have been early in like a crib or
Crazy.
back seat listening to a Monk CD or
Yeah.
something.
Do you remember? Because I also remember listening to Monk like pretty young, actually, because my
Mm.
grandparents would listen to jazz music, and we would go to their house like for Christmas, and they'd be playing like some Thelonious Monk. And I remember like revisiting Monk once I started getting interested in jazz as a teenager, and being like, "Oh right, I always loved the sound of this guy."
Yeah,
And I feel like there's something about Monk that is like completely universal.
totally. It's
Like-
playful.
Yeah.
It's like just so fun. It's like he's
Yeah.
really playing music,
Yeah.
and that's great.
There isn't like a there's nothing put on about it, and there's nothing that's trying to be how do I want to say this? Like it's not making an effort at breaking any sort of intellectual boundary other than just like making new music.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not contrived in any way,
Yeah.
right? So maybe that doesn't come across to like a little kid, but what does come across, I think, yeah, is the playfulness
Mm-hmm.
and the clarity of his ability to play like a melody on the piano,
Totally.
right?
Married to the melody.
Yeah, and that's like the important thing about Monk's music is taking care of the melody basically at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which Monk tunes are you going to be playing?
We're playing We See, which
Cool.
Kevin Romain and I just talked about how we both love that song.
Dun, da, da, da,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun,
But people don't really know that
Yeah.
song, apparently.
Okay.
So we're playing that. I have a
Yeah.
little arrangement of that. It's like a combination of, it borrows from a few people that I really enjoy their take on it. The Ben Van
Yeah.
Gelder arrangement, and I'm forgetting this drummer's name. Ari Honig.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and then we're playing.
the elbow.
Yeah, exactly.
For
that guy
that-
plays from the elbow.
Everyone's listening, obviously, but Biboye did a Ari Honig impression by like
Doing the chicken dance,
drumming with
basically.
his elbows out, like Ari Honig does. But also, you had to like crouch over a little bit too.
You had to.
Yeah,
Yeah, the shoulders.
yeah. It's shoulders and elbows. Yeah.
We're playing that. We're playing Straight No Chaser because
Mm.
that's the film name.
Right.
We're playing Well You Needn't, I believe. playing Monk's Dream.
Yeah.
Playing the hits.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, those are really great. Those are great selections. I mean, you can't really go wrong. But yeah, I was wondering if you were gonna say like a really, really hard one. If
Like
you were just
what?
gonna make John play Trinkle Tinkle or something.
No, we're not doing that.
You should make him do it.
Surprise.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, actually, and half of the tunes will be trio.
Okay, cool.
Because I just like, I don't know. I like the piano doing the thing
Mhm.
the whole time. So
Yeah. I mean, that's the best way to represent his tunes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Although, like the saxophone is really important to
Absolutely.
the sound of his tunes too.
Exactly, and that's why it's only half.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like I don't know I can't remember his whole discography
Mm-hmm.
personnel off my heart, but like
Mm-hmm.
it is a lot of quintet and quartet. But then he has all these solo piano albums,
Yeah.
and so yeah, we're not doing any solo piano tunes, but
The one where he's on the trolley.
exactly cute.
The one with where he has like it's like the painting of him
Exactly.
wearing the that's just solo Monk.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing like a pilot's helmet.
Yep,
That one's amazing.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's like the most important like solo instrumental music that you can listen to, because he just you can tell that he like the way he would practice is that he would just play these tunes like over and over and over and over and over and over again,
Mm-hmm.
to the point where they just happen. Like
It's a good way to put it.
yeah, like he just decides to play it and then it comes out the way that he plays it, because it just turns into a Monk tune. Like on Solo Monk, the way he plays I'm confessing that I love you.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like his tune.
Exactly.
It sounds like one of his tunes.
That's a great way to put it. Like he just has such a voice.
And I feel like that's kind of the goal, you know, like you want to like turn a tune into, you kind of want to steal it in a way.
Yeah, put it in your own voice.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But how do you do that? Do you think like because Monk isn't necessarily doing a lot of arrangement in the traditional sense
Mm-hmm.
of these tunes, other than like the way that he like
Plays it.
plays the chords.
Yeah.
Right.
And phrases the melody.
Yeah. Yeah. But those things are being improvised.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a difference between arrangement as being something that's improvised in the moment and arrangement as being something that you plan ahead of time?
Yeah, I guess so. I think so, but
It's hard to do that with the group, obviously.
yeah, and I don't know. I guess it makes it. It just puts the like it highlights how important it is to kind of do what I guess we're calling improvised arrangement, where you're
Mhm.
like, I'm going to phrase this way, but then you also hear the way he does it is like there will be consistency in like, here's how I'm phrasing the melody,
Mm-hmm.
here's the way I'm doing it. It's not the way this tune is, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the way it is now.
Yeah. What do you think of like playing standards and odd time signatures and stuff?
I think it's cool. I think
Yeah.
there was maybe there was like a time where it was like there was an era we were
Yeah.
exploring it.
Yeah, it was happening a lot more like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
15, and I really appreciate some of it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's like because I'm classically, even though I make all my students learn Take 5
Mm-hmm.
because it's brilliant playing, but
yeah.
but it's
Joe
also
Morello.
but it's also like if I hear that song, I think most jazz musicians feel the same way. We're like, we just kind of
Here we go again.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I think there's art in it, there's beauty in
Yeah.
it, and there's some like contrived like
Yeah.
I want to hear the song.
Yeah.
Well-
Yeah, and like especially when you know like the context of Take 5, where it's like it's on the album Time Out,
Yeah.
and it features a whole bunch of odd time
Mhm.
signature stuff that nobody had done before.
Mhm.
So like it was breaking ground,
Exactly.
but it was also just like the idea is that we're playing in odd time signatures.
Totally.
Yeah.
Which is like that's what we've been doing for a while. And
Yeah.
it feels like we're past the crest of that trend.
I think you're right.
But sometimes it's so beautiful. Like
Yeah.
I'm thinking there's this Brad Mehldau tune that I just can't.
Might as well be spring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like there's it, and it's almost like the whole Giant Steps is like not really a song, it's an exercise, but
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
No,
It's
it is good. Yeah.
and it's yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I feel like, well, I think Giant Steps is beautiful in that it happens to be like he managed to make a simple song, even though it was
Yeah, that's funny.
like once you understand the theory behind it, then you're like, oh, this is extremely simple. It's almost
Don't
like
forget, you are talking to a drummer.
Dude, I'm a guitar player, man. It's not that different. I tell my students guitar is a drum.
That's good. I think
Guitar is a
every instrument
percussionist
is a drum. Every instrument has to contribute.
It is, yes, yeah, but guitar is a
Presumably.
percussion instrument. And yeah, like and I think maybe I need to start teaching like rudiments.
Ooh.
Are you a big you've got to be a big rudiments guy.
You don't have to be. I mean,
Yeah.
I do. I'm not. I don't think I'm a big rudiments guy, especially with my students. I feel like I'm not as
Okay.
big as other teachers would be. But
Yeah.
my routine involves the rudimental ritual,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's valuable.
Yeah.
Everything I'm playing is built off that stuff.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, they're my
Yeah.
scales. So
Mm-hmm.
yes and no.
Yeah. Just I feel like there could be like a way to develop some kind of like understanding of rhythm in that way for guitar, because it's definitely taken for granted on that instrument. And like, yeah, I've probably already ranted about this on the podcast, but like it bothers me when my students want to learn how to play a specific strumming pattern when they don't necessarily even understand how time
Yes.
works.
Yes.
And then I just have to turn into like an old man and be like, well, do you even know? Okay, like, like, do you even know what you're trying to play? Like, what time signature are we in? Like that kind of, like, I don't turn it. I'm not mean.
Where do the beats land?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, so like the downstrokes are like 1.
Yeah.
And the upstrokes are and.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. I don't know. I feel like, yeah, like drums are so important, man. I wish I was a drummer. I wish I could drum better. I've tried before. But it's hard, man.
It's not for you.
Well, I don't have the space for it. You need to get a drum kit.
Arguable.
What was your first drum kit?
It's the one I still have it
Oh, nice.
because I did not take lessons as a kid. I just
Cool.
I played drums in church and
Okay,
at
yeah.
school, and so I didn't have drums until my second year of university.
You and I are very similar.
Oh, cool, sweet. Like I literally, it was because I started gigging, quote
Yeah.
unquote, and I was renting the same drum set from like
Yeah.
the drum shop in Edmonton, which is called Brandenburg Music.
Mm-hmm.
And I started renting it like maybe it was like consistently every 2 weeks I'd have a gig or
Mhm.
something, and I don't remember entirely if the guys were just like, this is yours now, or if I like paid a little bit, but they were like, you've used this kit all year for so many things, give us $100 more and just get it out of here.
That's cool.
And so yeah, it was like a Ludwig accent kit. I still have it.
That's really cool, man. I feel like a lot of people have a story, especially from being in their teenage years of like starting to take music really seriously. But I guess I don't know. You're talking about maybe your early 20s or something. But
I would have been 19, I guess.
Yeah. So like, I feel like there's always somebody who just sort of like sticks their neck out for you at some point.
Totally.
Like a lot of people who become, professional musicians, there was someone down the line who was just like, okay, I need to like
yeah.
throw this guy a bone or something like that.
Totally. And like I don't know if I had buying on the mind because like
Mm-hmm.
I was so new to music in so many senses. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know how to practice, and not in
Mhm,
the like,
mhm.
not in the like how to be efficient and have a goal and like
Right.
be bad. Practice room is where you are bad and don't
Yeah.
sound good. But in like the most basic, like I didn't grow up with like a, okay, you gotta learn how
Any
to
sort of discipline.
exactly, or like
Yeah, I'm
you
the
know,
same way. Yeah.
10 minutes and a day, or like this is how you need to like get to a recital at the end of the term. Like I didn't have any of that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I showed up to music school and it was like, hey guys, here's your assignment, work on this, and you got to be able to play it by the end of the week, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
What?
Wait, someone's deciding for me
Yeah,
what I should play?
Sorry.
That's not
That's
not how it works
for the
around
Sunday
here.
service.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, yeah, like I played guitar in church, and then I made like a garage band with the guys that I met in church, and then we would play on Sundays. We would have band rehearsal on Sundays, and then we would go play at like the 7:30 church service.
Mm-hmm.
And man, like we were totally goofing off too. It was pretty bad. Like I remember, like I was playing guitar, and then I like found out about like, cause yeah, I was also self-taught,
Mm-hmm.
and my friend Paul, who went to Cap with me, I actually just saw him yesterday.
Is this the old friend?
The old friend.
Sick.
Yeah. He's like my oldest friend. We had like a garage band together back in Surrey, and then we went to Cap together. He's a bass player, and we were in like this church band together. And he was kind of like sharing music theory knowledge with me. And so I found out about intervals. Like I figured out what an interval was, and like what a major seventh was. And basically I would be like sitting next to Paul playing guitar, and I wasn't mic'd up or anything, but I was singing along with the music, but I was singing it a major seventh up from
The root.
from the melody.
Oh, okay.
But I was only singing it loud enough for Paul to be able to hear it.
Hilarious.
That just jogged my memory for some reason.
Wow.
But yeah, and he was really annoyed by that, and that's my favorite thing in the world.
Fair.
It's annoying people that I love. But yeah, like I feel like you always have to have like it is sort of like becoming a musician is something that can't happen in a vacuum, I guess is
No
like
way.
what I'm getting at.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like how many people like, and did you meet a jazz musician in your youth that you were like, oh, that's a job? Like, or and I don't know if like
That's a good
Cap
question.
is Cap a jazz program or is it like a contemporary program?
It is a jazz program.
Okay.
It is a jazz program, yeah. Most people would say that VCC, Vancouver Community College, has more of a contemporary music program.
Cool.
But yeah, no, Cap is very much a jazz
Interesting.
program. Yeah.
That's crazy. You
And
went to
so-
a jazz school.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think, like, I think my first exposure to jazz music was probably going to a concert, like for like a daytime like jazz concert in the middle of the day at like another school.
Mhm.
And I think it was Phil Nimmons and David Braid. I think that's who it was. Yeah.
Vancouver folks?
No, they're
I don't know those folks.
Toronto guys.
Hmm.
You know Phil Nimmons? You don't know Phil
No.
Nimmons? Oh, he's like David Braid is much younger. He's definitely alive. Phil Nimmons passed away last year, at the age of 100, which is amazing.
Wow.
But yeah, it was really amazing to see them because they were actually playing like free jazz,
Whoa.
which was crazy.
Crazy.
Like David Braid was like reaching into the piano and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy cow. And they're like playing in front of, they're playing like this concert hall. It was, I can't remember the school now, but it's where they usually had the Envision Jazz Festival in Surrey. And yeah, I just remember seeing like David Braid like reaching into the piano, Phil Nimmons playing like crazy stuff on the clarinet, and I'm like, this is a real thing.
Wow. That's awesome.
And that was probably that was probably an important point for me. But an example of like someone sticking their neck out to help me out was probably like my physics teacher in grade 12, who realized that I could not do the physics class even though I needed the credit. But he knew that I was a musician and I wanted to go to music school, so he like gave me a special little class that I could take.
Wow.
Because he was a musician too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Mr. Greenall, who also has passed away sadly. Wow. He like, yeah, I remember one time like we jammed in the band room. I was playing piano and he played flute, and he brought his flute, and like we just jammed out
crazy
for like 15, 20 minutes or something. But yeah, he was just like I did like my physics like he did like a physics aptitude test at the very beginning of the grade 12 year just to see where everyone was at, and I failed it, and he was like, okay, well, I know you need the credit, so here's a special little assignment that you can do.
Yeah.
And he just had me like do like programming on like a small motherboard.
Wow.
Which was really
like
cool.
Unrelated?
Yeah, like with a piezo speaker. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he really helped me out, because without that credit, I wouldn't have been able to get into CAP. So, yeah, you always need somebody. Like usually somebody's gonna like donate something in order to let you get there. I feel like most musicians who have got to a certain point, the reason why they were able to sustain themselves in one way or another is because of the generosity of someone who was on their path.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Like,
it is cool
to hear about that kind of thing. Like just being able to get gear for like affordable gear at a certain period. Like that was probably really important for you to have.
Absolutely.
And like what would have happened if you hadn't been able to own that
I don't
kit?
know. For real. No,
Yeah.
for real. And then that was the only kit I owned for like years.
Yeah.
Years. I was using it for everything, and it's like not a jazz kit, and
yeah,
I was using it for everything. And then I got a couple more, but it's also, and like in many ways it gave me an appreciation for like making it work with whatever you have, and I still have that attitude. And yeah. And the guys were older, and they like were drummers as well, and had their own gigs, and would ask me what I was doing. I go, what are you playing? And that kind of stuff. And I was in school, but like it was still like, oh, what am I going to do with this? Probably going to get another degree and teach, because I really wanted to be a teacher. That was my main goal. I didn't go into music school to play. Yeah. I went to music school by accident, and then ended up playing.
That was also something I was thinking when I was getting into music school too. It was just like, oh, okay, I'll just be like a music teacher. I'll be like a high school music teacher.
Yeah, that was
because that was literally the only thing I knew you could be.
Exactly.
And I remember taking did you ever have to take one of those tests, like a career test or something? That it's like basically like a glorified BuzzFeed quiz that would like tell you what career you should try to do.
Yeah,
like you're,
exactly.
Like you're in grade 11 and you take this test. Like I remember doing that, and I just like chose all the music related things, anything I could
hilarious
point me in the direction of being a musician. And it said that I should be a music therapist.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, I don't want to be a therapist.
Well, that's a real job though.
I guess
what
so.
do we do now?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. I think I am a music therapist.
Ooh. Ouch.
Hey.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a music therapist.
I think I am though.
I'm a music therapist in a manner of speaking.
Yeah.
And the manner of speaking perverts the meaning of music therapy. Oof. Yeah, it is kind of like you have to invent this job.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. You have to invent this job.
Yeah. Well, because like, in this, because essentially your job is being Biboye Onanuga.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right?
That's part of it. I do a lot of random things.
Not just like a drummer though. I mean like you're in Vancouver.
I see.
You're not in Vancouver as a drummer.
Well, correct, but that's just right now. I feel like I don't do a lot of things under my name, to be honest.
Well, I think that's
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I've been playing a lot of theater the past 6 months.
Cool.
Like I think 4 out of the past 6 months have been dedicated to theater contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So I am actually feeling like drummer number one.
Okay.
It has been my role for the last little bit.
How does that feel though?
It feels great. I love playing theater.
Cool.
Actually, it's like I've recently told someone I had some
Musical theater?
yeah.
Mm.
I had some thespians ask me like, "What would you do this gig again?" Or if we this got remounted somewhere, would you do it? And I answered pretty quickly, yes. Like, it is very, very hard for me to take another gig over a theater gig.
Yeah.
I love the beauty of getting to tell a really like concrete story
Yeah.
with music. Because like, especially with jazz, where it's an abstract art is what I consider it.
Sure.
Most music, especially without lyric, is like inherently an abstract platform. And with musical theater, you're like part of a bigger picture, and you're painting, like you're bringing out emotions out of like a circumstance or like for a character. And I love that. And I love the like interesting challenge of playing the same music 40 nights in a row in your own city. Like, it's not, like touring. You're not moving around. You're like on the same kit, same stage, same time.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you honor that music the same way or differently? And the actors might have a different kind of day, and the audience might be different. And so how do you distill those things through the same music every day? I love it.
This sounds like maybe like a small production.
No,
Huge
actually
really?
pretty massive.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's for like the Citadel.
I only say that because like you're having like kind of like conversations with the actors and stuff. Like, I wouldn't think that.
Oh well,
there'd be that level of.
I was paid as an actor, so I was actually the past couple ones I've been.
So you're on stage.
I was on stage in costume.
Oh.
The second one I had lines.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm playing drums like 90% of the show.
So you're a
I'm playing
thespian.
drums. We should not get into this bag. this whole. I'm not an actor.
You're credited.
Yeah, I do have an IMDb too, but like I'm not an actor. It's been fun.
Who's your agent?
I don't have one. My mom, my wife. I don't have. Yeah, it's been fun, but like I got to be with the cast in a different way.
Yeah.
Because I was part of the cast.
Yeah.
But the past few shows, it's actually really everyone else was an actor, and I was like hiding and trying to not mess it up.
I think you could be an actor.
I don't know if I want to be an actor. I recognize I kind of came out of it being like, because there was a lot of like, so are you trying to do this? Like, the actors would be honestly just being actors and like just talking, just
trying to
gassing, just like not real. Because I'm like, I'm not an actor, and you guys are actually really good at this, and you studied this, and you have approaches, and you're thoughtful about the things that you do, and I'm kind of like just trying to figure out how to do this, especially the lines thing. I'm happy to speak to a crowd as me, but weird speaking to an audience, or well, not speaking to another character on stage as someone else.
Don't you think just as because I've thought about this quite a bit, obviously, like we both lead groups. When you're doing your banter, when you're talking on stage, you're in character to some degree.
Sure, but I think it's like, and actors would say the same thing. They're like, the best actors are like bringing themselves to each role and finding the intersection between their character and their internal life. And but like, it depends on the show. Like, it depends on the band. And I feel like lately the overlap has been like real high, where it's like the banter is mostly me.
Right.
Versus like, it's like 10% a character, 90% me. But sometimes it is more like 30-70, but
I just mean like you have to be more, I guess, like, you can't be like totally really really real when you're talking to an audience.
Sometimes I feel like I'm the most real when I'm talking to an audience.
Yeah. I don't doubt you.
It's like I'm not frivolous. I'm like, this is actually, especially, I don't know. Sometimes I just think about.
You do have an earnesty about you on the mic.
Yeah, I try to.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, because not many people get opportunities to be on a mic in front of a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think I hold that in high regard.
Right.
It's like, what do you say? It's the whole like conversation about people being platformed to some degree, and the internet has given everyone a platform, but it's not the same as being in front of people face to face, and they could feel, you know, the vibrations from if I'm being mic'd, or just like I'm speaking to someone. And it's like that's a real platform, and I take that like seriously in a weird way.
Right. So your approach of it is actually like just kind of like just really realizing your place and the privilege you have to be able to talk to people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like, just
I feel like and I appreciate that, obviously, because I feel like after a while, like once you know, I think this happens a lot to people when they are in this position where you get really used to it, and then you can become a little bit like, you can take it for granted, right? Like you can take the fact that you have a platform. It's because everybody has a platform.
Yeah, totally.
You can take it for granted. And then suddenly you can feel entitled to your platform, right? And I think that's it. I mean, if we're talking about hot takes, not everybody's entitled to a platform, right?
Absolutely.
Like you get one these days, right?
Yeah,
like,
for free.
Yeah.
But are you entitled to it?
Yeah.
And are you deserving, or
yeah?
What are you bringing to it?
If you don't have a platform, that's just how everyone is.
And has been.
Yeah. That's just, you don't just get one most of the time. And so I think, like sort of like treating your platform with gravitas in that way, I think is a good way to go about it. Because, you can see people become very cynical, and become a little bit like, blasé, I guess, when it comes to having a platform, because it's a given. But also, I feel like that can like rub people the wrong way. Because like I'm talking to all of you in this room with me because of course I am. Because of course you're here with me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's different from how it used to be, where like if you get people all to come into a room at the same time and listen to you, it's like, man, okay, this is my moment. Right?
Yeah.
And I think it's the same. It's just that we don't necessarily perceive it as being the same. Because talking to a room of people is way different from talking to your Instagram followers.
Yeah.
Or your podcast listeners.
Yeah. Yeah. Stuff to think about.
Yeah.
And it also just gives me. I love making abstract art. I love being involved in instrumental music. I love that there is interpretation, and like the audience just has an emotional impact from music, and it's like I'm not telling them how to feel.
Yeah.
But I also love marrying that to like a personal meaning in the music.
Yeah.
And within each song, but also just in the cultural significance of like making art that you experience in time.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as a drummer. I mean that like you can't
like
fast
in real
forward
time.
a song. Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially an improvised live song. It's just you have to be there, and I think that practice is really important in a culture that, like, you've heard me say this, but like moves too fast.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Like you can, again, it's like taking things for granted, right? Like, I don't know, complaining about this feels so like feels so overdone, but truly, like the the age of streaming music has made appreciating music a lot more difficult, or like being able to convince people that music is to be appreciated is a lot more difficult now, because you make a record and it's just like, of course you did.
That's
right?
hilarious.
Like every record is out. Like, why haven't you had one out?
Hilarious.
You know what I mean?
That's
like,
actually so hilarious. Wow. That's hard.
Cause it's like, every everyone has a record.
Yeah.
Right.
Crazy.
and it's like, man, like, I'm sure you grew up. Yeah, you're a little younger than me, but like you grew up with CDs, of course.
Of course.
So like,
still have so many in my car.
Yeah.
Love CDs.
Yeah. And like,
I remember like having birthdays and
Yeah.
like ladies from church would be like, "What CD would you like this year?" And it
Ooh.
was a big deal. Like, what would I pick?
Wow.
John Mayer or Coltrane? Like,
Whoa.
where am I moving this year? Like, because I'm gonna listen to this album for the next year.
The two big Johns.
Yes. Which John?
The two big Johns of in a 14-year-old's life.
You are literally spot on.
Yeah.
Probably exactly 14, 15.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
dang, but that's new John Mayer.
Yeah. So yeah, you're probably talking like the trio.
Yep.
Like
Steve Jordan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's goated to
Yeah, and Pino.
Oh my gosh. Come on.
What a band.
Did you know Steve Jordan played the Pina Colada song? He recorded that?
If you like pina coladas.
He recorded the drums on that song.
The drums are good on that song. They're
God.
yeah, really tight.
God. Drumeo just like posted that like
For
a few
real?
months ago. And I was
Oh,
like,
that's funny.
what?
Dude, I honestly love those videos
Big fan.
where it's just like Thomas Pridgeon plays
Oh yeah.
plays Coldplay without hearing it or
for
something
the first
like
time.
that.
Yeah. Those are fun.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love drummer culture, honestly.
I could tell. I was like, Thomas Pridgeon, deep cut.
I know, yeah.
You know, he auditioned for Primus.
I just saw
And
I
got
just
to
saw
the
that.
finals. I don't know if he won the gig, but like
They liked him.
they apparently, they talked about him. They were like,
Yeah.
what we love about Thomas is that he's loud, but like
He's
actually.
balanced.
You saw this.
He's balanced.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
nerding out about this stuff with my students. Like,
Yeah.
see, get all four limbs in there.
Yeah. It's true. Do you think about that? Do you think about balancing your sound throughout the kit? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of my practice is involved, like, my practice involves being a four-way drummer. And,
Mhm.
like, even, like, my soloing is just, like, a lot of me just exploring the four
Mhm.
sounds. Like, I feel like I really should go back and, like, transcribe jazz and, like,
Yeah.
get the hands stuff and the
Mhm.
jazz voice, because a lot of the drums I really love are just like you hearing the hi-hat and you're like hearing it part of the music, and
Yeah.
like with the foot, not the hands. And it's like, I love that. Like Craig Weinrib, this great younger drummer, he plays with Joel Ross. He's like a New York native, didn't go to school.
Right.
Yeah, I just love his playing. Plays with Ben Van Gelder. He's just a four-way drummer. It's like all four voices, and it's like it really feels like he's playing four instruments at the same time.
You're talking. Wait, 4 instruments. So, you mean the
Hi-hat,
left foot?
Yeah, snare,
Right. Okay.
ride,
Yeah.
kick drum. Like it feels like they're all being played,
Yeah.
like as separate voices, like
Mm.
in a beautiful way. So I think about
Cool.
balance a lot.
Yeah. That's something I never considered because I'm not a drummer. So like when I heard Claypool talking about that, and it's just like, oh, interesting. Maybe this is something that I subconsciously value.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Right?
Because like, yeah, even just like it's one of the things I teach in like lesson 2.
Yeah.
Of, like drum lessons
Okay,
with me is
cool.
like you have to mix yourself,
Mm.
and every genre as a drummer has a different mix.
Yeah.
And you have to like because at the biggest levels, like you might see drummers looking like they're just playing loud, and it's like, well, yeah, it's because like they're mic'd,
Mm.
and the sound guy is mixing them. The sound guy's like, this is a rock show, more kick, more snare, overheads down.
Mm.
But like when you're not mic'd and you're playing jazz, you know,
Yeah.
there's a different mix. It's
That's
like,
true.
You want to hear the ride, you want to hear time, and you want to hear the hi-hat.
Yeah.
And you do not want to hear the snare comping the same way you want to hear the time. So
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that makes total sense too, because I think probably the way that the drums sound from, for example, a studio record compared to a live record, that's really kind of like what is different.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to mix a live sound the way that it sounds in a studio, obviously, right? Because there's going to be bleed and everything, but also like usually you're not just miking every single drum.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
different.
you could.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's gonna be different if you're
totally.
on stage. Yeah.
Yeah. Things to think about.
Yeah, that must be Cuz I suppose sometimes like you listen to in jazz, like you listen to a record and you can tell like immediately that it's a live
Yeah,
recording.
totally.
Yeah. Which I like, but also I guess it also depends on what you're looking for.
I love it. I used to. Here's my hot take.
Yeah.
Here's like it's not real.
Here we go.
I don't really believe it.
Here we go.
Yeah, you pulled one out of me.
Yeah.
I think all jazz albums should be live albums.
There we are. Well, what about like playing in one room? Does that count? Like if you're in a studio, like
how many takes were there? You know,
let's just do one take.
Then yes. But
Okay.
if it's like it's in real time, but it's happening many times.
Yeah.
It's kind of like losing it a little bit.
Yeah.
And but I also mean like the audience there is important. Like, and we don't have to talk about Snarky Puppy because some people hate them, some people love them.
Okay.
But like, interesting that some of those legendary videos are with an audience, even though they're in studio.
Yeah.
And there's a reaction to the music, and the musicians meet the audience somewhere, not just the engineer.
That's a good point. Yeah, they have like their specific way of doing it, but I don't wonder if that affects the experience,
right? Like
because they're trying to give the audience a studio sounding experience by giving them all headphones.
You're right. Yeah.
So then, what is it? Is it a studio record?
That's a great point. It's clearly a studio record, but but it's like,
but they're getting the feedback loop of having an audience.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I'm so glad you said feedback loop.
Yeah.
I've been talking about this all the time.
Okay.
Because there's this brilliant music thinker who was out in Vancouver as well. His name's Elijah. That's his like handle.
Okay.
I brought him out to Edmonton.
Okay.
You
were posting about him.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He's quite brilliant. He has this book called Make the Thing.
Cool.
Close the app, make the thing. Make the ting. And he's just been posting online these yellow squares with ideas. And he's been working in music for like 15 years. And one of them is like about the feedback loop and really that social media and art needs feedback to get better.
Yeah.
And just that's part of it is like having a feedback loop, and we're kind of afraid to share sometimes, but it's like that's part of the process is like getting the feedback and like finding ways to make it shorter, like get the feedback quick and like improve. So just interesting that you brought that up. Like,
well, because it's a real thing. It's a real phenomenon. Having people there and feeling. I mean, there is like a deep emotional thing that happens, I think, to the performer when they are able to look up and be able to see in real time if they are being validated.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't get that in a lot of other art forms.
Absolutely.
So,
and it's a privilege that we get that.
Yeah, and especially in jazz where adjustments can be made in real time.
Yes.
Right? Like
that's not working.
Like, if you're playing in another genre of music and people are unhappy with art showing their distaste for the music,
show's locked in.
It's like, well, maybe we can fix the sound.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
but the tracks and the arrangements are
what it
is.
We're not getting away from how we're playing this.
Yeah.
Not that ever actually happens, but it's like, but like just the idea that you can make those adjustments, or you can sort of like, I guess, I don't know, not to get too woo woo with it, but like feel the energy in the room.
Yeah.
Where it's just like people are really into this, right? I played a gig at Frankie's a couple weeks ago with all my original music. It was my first gig, I think, ever that I've played where it was only my original music.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
Two sets.
2 sets of
Wow.
original.
I saw
originals.
the post and I was
Oh, yeah.
like, oh shoot, wish I lived there.
Yeah. Come on down, man.
No live stream.
It's only 3 times more expensive than the city. Because you live in like downtown Edmonton, right?
I do.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah,
You
in
live
a
close to-
house.
Yeah,
Like I can walk to our like, I don't know, the where the Oilers play.
yeah, that's sweet. I mean, I could walk to where the Canucks play.
Oh,
but
there we
it would
go.
take me 25 minutes. Maybe 30 minutes. But it's really expensive. Anyway, I don't know why
I live in a
got to-
cheap house,
Yeah.
big cheap house in Edmonton.
But yeah, no, I played some music, some of my music at Frankie's, and you can really feel when the audience is into it, and that helped the music get played good, I think.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, because it's hard not to kind of have that type of presentation and be a little apprehensive to do it. And you
Yeah.
don't want that to come off,
Yeah.
right? You definitely don't want to be like, this is all my music. I hope you like it. Like, you
Yeah.
don't-
Right.
yeah. Like, you don't want to be emanating that. And because the audience will be able to detect that immediately.
Mhm.
And then that will be the feedback loop. That will be the
Yes.
vibe of the feedback loop,
Yes.
right? I'm unsure, they're unsure. Now I'm unsure about how sure they are.
Yeah.
Um,
But there's beauty in the feedback loop, even when it goes bad, because then you can be like, I'm
Yeah.
unsure and they're
Honestly-
unsure. Let me be a little more confident.
well,
Oh,
exactly,
look at
and
it.
it's just like, well, and like the feeling of low confidence is completely fallacious. It's like based on this idea that I have to be nervous for some reason. Like I'm forcing myself to be nervous because I feel like I must be nervous.
Maybe that's a you thing.
I think it is. Yeah. Because then I look at my music and I'm like, wait, this is cool. I like this music.
Yeah. Right.
Right? Like I like playing this music and I know it's going to sound good with this band. So there's actually like nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
I wrote music that I like to play. So like,
Cheat code.
yeah.
Honestly, writing music is a cheat code.
Yeah.
I think.
It
like-
really is. Like once you figure it out, it's just like, oh, so I can write music that I just like sound
that I
like
sound
really good on it.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly. Like that fits me, that suits me.
Oh, that's
Sometimes
the key.
I've been talking to that to a lot of people because
Yeah.
I have this great role in Edmonton as the musician in residence.
EPL.
Yeah, with the
Musician
Edmonton
in
Public
residence.
Library.
I'm glad you brought it up because I
Um,
told you I wanted to bring it up.
But it's so fun, and I'll meet with people, and they're like, basically, I can meet with people to support them in their musical journeys in a number of different capacities. But
Yeah.
a good portion of it is people being like, I would love some feedback on the music I'm working on.
That's cool.
And we get to the point very quickly with a lot of them where I'm like, do you think you sound like very concrete way, like a singer-songwriter? I'm like, is this in your range? Like,
yeah.
and I'm not a singer.
Yeah.
But it's like, is this in a good key for you? Like, and it's like, no. And it's like, guess what? You're in charge.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great cheat code.
Yeah. So how many sessions will you have with somebody? On average?
You can book. Well, it's just an open Calendly booking system.
Cool.
So some people I've seen like pretty much since the first week I started there, like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And I've seen them almost every week.
Oh, nice.
Those people are mostly retired or like in school and
Right.
can just like make the time for it. Some people it's like we kind of meet for a month and then they are off. For some people it's like coming up to a grant deadline, we might meet twice.
Sweet.
And yeah, different people, different things.
That's a really cool thing to be doing because now you're able to like stick your neck out for somebody.
Yeah, totally. And like, yeah, it's trying to find ways to make sure I'm not blurring any professional lines, but like I'll meet some incredible artists and I'm like,
Yeah.
we got to work together.
Yeah.
In some capacity, like maybe when I'm done. But
I hope someday down the line we can run into each other in a professional context and exchange information. Yeah, like of course you want to be able to do that. Like and like I don't know if it would be crossing any boundaries, but like isn't that kind of like what they would want out of that ultimately? Is like for you or like for artists with potential to meet other artists with potential, you know, like sort of like creating like a large hadron collider in Edmonton of creative people. Like I think that's an awesome thing.
Yeah, it's fun.
What have you learned about have you kind of like taught yourself anything through this process?
What would I say that's appropriate? I've taught myself. It's reminded me of like a bunch of skills and knowledge that was kind of laying dormant for sure.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, I do know about touring.
Yeah.
Oh, I do know about like working with a producer, like finding a community, or I do know about like booking the right kind of drummer for your sound. Like just I do actually know how to use Ableton. Like
you need someone to ask you the questions so that you can realize you're able to answer them.
For real.
Yeah.
It's like, I can do that.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm an expert?
Yeah,
what?
It's for real. And that's how I felt. Because
even
like the previous musician residence is incredibly talented musician and singer, really hard worker.
Yeah.
And she was a prof when I went to school.
Cool.
So I was like, oh, you're a real musician. I'm just here.
Right.
But it's been fun to realize, like, I'm young enough to be like, oh man, I don't know anything, but I'm like, I have actually been doing this my whole adult life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, isn't that funny how that works? Man, it's been really nice to talk to you. Glad we were able to make this work in the couple of days that you're in town.
Same. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. I know. Yeah, we'll do it again. But either way, I'm looking forward to playing with you. By the way,
we have a show.
Yeah, we're gonna play together in June during Jazz Fest.
Yeah.
Is it the 23rd?
It's the Sunday, so it might be the 20.
I'll have to look it up. That'll be a really fun show. Obviously, that's gonna be a crazy week. 40th anniversary of the Vancouver Jazz Festival.
No way.
This year.
Didn't realize.
Yeah.
Big one.
Big 4-0. Jazz Fest is over the hill.
Hope not.
Well, that's what you say when you
Hope
turn
it
40.
lasts forever. Oh, is it? I didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
You're halfway there?
Yeah, I guess so.
80?
Yeah.
I guess that's about average.
Yeah, we were talking about sections of 30 years the other day.
Oh, yeah, we were.
Yeah.
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 That's exciting. I'm excited to play. It's the first time I've been in Vancouver and not played with you, is right now.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, we got to find a gig just to keep the streak.
Yeah. Well, that's fine.
Tomorrow.
I won't take it personally.
Please don't. You knew you were on top of mind. I almost fought to get you into a gig that wouldn't have paid anyone anything.
That's fine. No, you're on the pod. It's all good. Yeah, no, but enjoy the rest of your time here. Have a great gig tonight.
I'll try.
And we'll see you around soon.
See you soon.
Thanks to Biboye for joining me. It's always a blast to catch up with him. We're usually just texting each other about basketball drama, so it's nice to sit down and talk about music for a change. As always, please subscribe to the podcast to get notified about new episodes as soon as they drop, and head to rhythmchanges.ca and subscribe to the free weekly newsletter to get this podcast in your email, as well as the gig list and other great coverage of Vancouver's jazz and improvised music scene. Thanks as always for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.